Hi, everyone. Nicole Russo and Joe Nevills coming to you for the final episode of the Oaks Countdown. Of course, the 144th running of the Philly Classic is set for Friday at Churchill Downs. Let's look at the field. And if you have been following along with us all winter and spring, you know these names. Monomoy Girl is favored from the outside post in the full field of 14. California Invader Midnight Bisou, the second choice, a few stalls inside of her. Let's take a look at the field and some pedigree notes in post position order, beginning on the rail with fantasy winner Sassy Sienna. Daughter of midshipman, a very consistent filly who finally broke through there in the fantasy.
Yeah, midshipman mostly known for throwing sprinters like Lady Shipman, but the dam has also thrown a grade 3 placed runner at a mile and an eighth, so the connections are surely hoping that momentum from the bottom side keeps on rolling with Sassy Sienna in the Oaks.
Mm-hmm. As we look at the next filly in the field, Coach Rocks from the first crop of Oxbow impressed me on the track last week at Churchill Downs, but she's really been gawking at the crowds on the backstretch as they've gotten a little bit larger the last several days. She's one that I'm going to keep an eye on in the walkover and on the post parade.
By far the best runner by her sire Oxbow, whose foals win at an average distance of nearly a mile. Very impressive for such a young sire still building his resume. Oxbow himself, of course, won the 2013 Preakness Stakes, so you know the ability is in there somewhere. The dam side, though, is mostly turfy and doesn't have a ton of standout black type, so overall class, a bit of a question with this one.
Classy Act, one of a couple in here out of Daughters of Distorted Humor, who has really emerged as the star broodmare sire, has championed Arrogate and multiple Grade 1 winner Elate in that category.
Into Mischief, definitely capable of getting you a high-end runner, but his average progeny winning distance of 6.68 furlongs is pretty low for a classic field. Canadian champion Rainbows for Life and Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies winner Tempera are also in the extended family, though, so there's definitely some class here. She breaks the furthest inside of the likely pace horses, so they'll have to pass her to win this race.
Next in the gate is Fairgrounds Oaks winner Chocolate Martini. We've talked so much in recent years about the Unbridled line, especially as a source of classic type stamina. Of course, stallions like Unbridled Song, Empire Maker, Pioneer of the Nile coming from that line. Broken Vow is kind of the forgotten son of Unbridled. We haven't talked much about him, but Chocolate Martini by this very consistent stallion who did have a champion filly a couple years ago in Champagne Room.
Yes, Broken Vows foals win at an average of about 7.25 furlongs, which is solid for a field like this. And it's actually a pretty turf-heavy family underneath, but it's got a Grade 1 winner there in Ladies' Den, so you like to see that. Chocolate Martini sprung a big upset in the Fairgrounds Oaks after getting claimed for $25,000 just 2 starts earlier. And I'll be curious to see if she just needed a change in barns or if she ran the race of her life that day, and that's the best we're going to see out of her.
Wonder Godot, very consistent all winter while kind of developing a hanging habit, lacking the explosiveness she showed as a juvenile. I thought she showed some renewed interest in her most recent outing, just missing the fantasy, looking to be the third Oaks winner for her sire Medaglia d'Oro, joining, of course, the Hall of Fame mare Rachel Alexandra and Plum Pretty a couple years after that.
Yeah, like you said, Rachel Alexandra, Plum Pretty, that's all you need to know there. Canada's champion 2-year-old filly at 2017, Wonder Godot, still seeking that breakout effort in her 3-year-old campaign, but she seems to be going in the right direction headed into the Oaks, and one you definitely can't discount.
Kelly's Humor, one of a couple in here for sire Midnight Loot. She's also out of a Distorted Humor mare.
Yeah, Midnight Loot had a heck of an Oaks season, not only getting this one to the gate, but also Midnight Basoo. And he had Midnight Disguise, who made a lot of noise on the New York road in the Oaks. It's tough to see it happening with Kelly's Humor, though, who hasn't won since she was at Ellis Park last August, and she's only started once this year. So kind of tough to see this one happening.
Raya, kind of your mystery filly, won the UAE Oaks at a mile and 3/16. That's longer than she'll go on Friday. That's the Preakness distance. Finished a decent second in the UAE Derby, although well beaten by Mendelssohn, going the same distance against the boys. Bred to go long, her half-brother Curlin Road won the Cougar 2 at a marathon. Family of Breeders' Cup Classic winner Concern. She's changed barns, now with trainer Bob Baffert to target the Oaks. Joe, I know that the travel was a big question mark for you with this one.
Yeah, a couple things to keep an eye on with Rhea. First, she's running on Lasix for the first time in the Oaks. All of her previous starts have come in the UAE where you can't run on the stuff, and I've always been a big fan of the L1 angle, especially when it comes to a horse with dirt potential coming over. Second, she ran second to Mendelssohn by multiple lengths, and she beat some nice horses in doing so, but she only managed to pull a 78 by her speed figure out of that effort. That's middle of the pack at best in this group. So there's a chance she just might not be good enough to hang with this group.
Ohio bred, Heaven Has My Nikki. Her sire, Majestic Warrior, also looking for another Oaks winner, had the very good filly Princess of Silmar several years back. This one will be a long shot.
Yeah, she has a decent female family under her, but there's some class limitations under her damn Floral Park. Heaven Has My Nikki is a half to Doug's Buddy, who's a grade 3 place stakes winner at Northlands Park in Canada, as well as Floral Sky, who's a stakes winner at Thistledown. So you don't really have that high level experience under that first dam. Like a lot of the big Palucci horses, I think Heaven Has My Nikki would be a very good runner at the grade 2, grade 3 level, and she's definitely a standout among her fellow Ohio breds. But a grade 1 against the best of her generation is kind of a big ask with this form.
Take Charge Paula, another very consistent filly who I just don't think you can throw out based on how she's brought her game to every race. Another bye first crop sire in Take Charge Indy, who's got Noble Indy in the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, honest as they come. And as you said, one of the spearheads of Take Charge Indy's big debut crop, one of the pleasant surprises of the spring racing season. She didn't get the job done in the Gulfstream Park Oaks last out, but I loved how she re-rallied after getting passed by Coach Rocks, and she made her have to fight for it. I don't know if she's good enough to win the thing here on Friday, but she won't make it easy for whoever does.
And then we come to Midnight Basoo, who we've mentioned a few times. We'll watch her here winning the Santa Anita Oaks in her most recent outing before we show you her pedigree on screen. Another Midnight Loot filly shows her sire's late kick. Fascinating contrast in styles in this race, as Monomoy Girl doesn't necessarily need the lead, but she would prefer to be forwardly placed. With her drawing the outside post, it might force her hand a little bit, as she might need to use some of her natural speed to get position into the first turn and avoid being hung wide. The draw didn't matter so much for Midnight Basoo, who's going to be behind and come with a big late run, again, just as her big leggy sire did.
This is one of the serious threats in the field. We've already mentioned Midnight Loot's big Oaks Trail season, and Midnight Basoo is right at the head of that class, with their only defeats being a pair of noses behind the very good Dream Tree to start her career. Since then, nobody on the West Coast has even been in her league. She's, like you said, powerful closer, not afraid to go wide, and I think being far enough from the rail to keep her out of trouble is definitely going to work to her benefit in the Oaks.
My Miss Lily, the Gazelle winner, could be the second Oaks winner for perennial leading sire Tappet. Of course, had Oaks winner, Distaff winner, and champion Untappable a few years back.
Yeah, also had 2015 Oaks runner-up Shook Up, so a lot of very good Oaks class from Tappet. Plenty to like with this one. The thing that holds me back, though, on My Miss Lily is I'm not sure how good the New York platoon was this year. She was part of that blanket finish in the Gazelle Stakes where the other runners opted to look elsewhere, and I don't love to see that.
Patrona Margarita, a Texas bred. We have a very diverse field here. She's a half to Millionaire Texas Chrome.
Yeah, another one that we really can't glean a ton from in terms of pedigree. She's by the Texas Sire Special Rate, and this is his first graded stakes winner and just one of 4 stakes winners overall from 10 crops of racing age. Fortunately, as you said, her dam Margarita Miss is good at getting the most out of Texas breds, led by, as you said, multiple grade 3 winner Texas Chrome. Patrona Margarita has been 4th or better in 2 starts this year after winning the grade 2 Pocahontas last year, but her closest margin of defeat is 7 1/4 furlongs this season. She'd need to show a ton more to even scratch the next level against this field.
We've thought pretty highly of Eskimo Kisses all along, has made all of her starts going a route of ground, ran some of the better buyers of this group earlier in the year. She's been rallying in her 2 stakes attempts, just missed in the Fairgrounds Oaks before running second to Monomoy Girl last out. Should get some pace to run at, and her grand dam, none other than Winning Colors, who won the Kentucky Derby 30 years ago this week, one of only 3 fillies to do so.
Oh yeah, easily the best pedigree of this year's Oaks field. Like you said, going back to second her second dam, the Kentucky Derby winning colors. Hall of Famer Chris Everett is further down on this page, along with Group 1 or Classic winners in England, Ireland, France, Japan, Germany, South Africa, and India. This is a big filly who's been brought along carefully and built up for this very purpose, to run in the Kentucky Oaks. She's a heavy closer, and she should be coming up late right along with Midnight Pursuit. It's going to be a lot of fun to see which of the two has the best kick going down the stretch.
And finally, on the outside, the morning line favorite, Monomoy Girl. You're going to watch the race that established her as the favorite, as she won the Grade 1 Ashland for fun on the lead every step of the way last out. And then we'll take a closer look at her pedigree. This is going to be my selection for the Oaks. I have liked this filly all along. She ran some of the better buyers for a 2-year-old filly last year, doing so at Churchill Downs, where she owns a stakes win and was narrowly defeated in a 2-turn Grade 2 toward the end of the meet. Won both her starts this year. And the Rachel Alexandra broke poorly, showed she didn't need things all her own way to win as she rallied from off of it. In the Ashland, again, controlled the race every step of the way. She has developed in terms of professionalism throughout the spring. I think she's just thriving right now.
Yeah, you're not going to get too much debate from me on this one. This is my pick as well. She's improved with every start, both in terms of visual effort and from the buyer speed figures. My big concern for her heading into the Ashland Stakes last out was if she'd be able to kick the pattern of weaving into the stretch and finding trouble. And then she ran straight as an arrow, won by 5.5. You love to see it. I'm sure the connections would have rather seen her anywhere but the outside posts, but if anyone in this group has the talent to pull it off from the gate, it's Monomoy Girl.
Mm-hmm. Well, I apologize to our viewers for not being more creative for you, as we both like the chalk and the Kentucky Oaks. Eskimo Kisses, again, if you like Monomoy Girl, you have to like her, and she's definitely going to get her pace to run at. She is bred for this route of ground at Churchill Downs. Joe, any other sleepers that you think we should be looking at from a pedigree standpoint?
Well, I mean, Take Charge Paula is going to be tough as nails. You have to at least pay attention to her at the bottom of your exotics, because she's just not going to give up without a fight. And I think that's enough to at least get her third or fourth. We'll see what happens. But, again, we're not going to have a ton of debate on this. I love Eskimo Kisses. If she gives off, if all the money goes toward Monomoy Girl and Midnight Basue and Eskimo Kisses gives a decent price, I'll be all over that.
Remember, all the episodes of the Oaks Countdown are archived at video.drf.com. A more in-depth look at some of these fillies and their pedigrees as they've developed throughout the spring. Thanks for tuning in all season, and thanks for tuning in to DRF TV's Oaks and Derby Week programming. We'll see you under the Twin Spires.